was wondering if
it will possess you.
Chunk of 40,000 years to learn.
Oh, it's horrific. It's making my bum tinkle. Yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we have a very, very famous one. It just hit 1 billion views on YouTube. It's Michael Jackson Thriller. Now, I have seen this before, well, at least some of it, but when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, well over 20 years ago. It surprised me, and I'll get into why in a second, but I was thinking about it and I don't really remember it. I remember some zombies. I remember they scared me. I probably ran out of the room. I remember watching this at my grandparents' around Christmas time in another country. I also remember thinking it was like a full-length film. It isn't. It's 13 minutes here, the video. 13 minutes is still very long for a song. So it's got me thinking, is the song really this long? Ooh, that was some poetry there, wasn't it? But yeah, I remember some dancing, like a group in a hall or in a car park or something. I've really not watched this since then ever, I don't think. On to the why. I received a Patreon request for Voice Play's cover of this song. That came out yesterday, and with all covers I always make sure to familiarise myself with the original song, especially if I don't know the song. So I came to look for this, the original, and I saw a 13-minute video. That's when I realised I've not seen this in well over 20 years. It's the month of Halloween, a very fitting time to rewatch it, and now I have a YouTube channel, maybe a fitting time to make a video as well. Due to my schedule, this video will come after my Voice Play one is released. Card up here if you're interested in checking that out. Voice Play are an extremely entertaining and musically great a cappella group, definitely worth checking out. This was from 1982, which means MJ was 23, 24 years old. And finally, in terms of the song itself, of course I know the chorus. There's not a person on the earth probably who doesn't know the chorus. And I think I know the melody of the verses or some of them, but I can't recite the song from start to finish. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. Interesting. Is that stop-start animation? Always interesting when songs start off with a bit of a video.
honestly, we're out of gas.
So, what are we gonna do now?
Oh, this is the risk of sounding so stupid. This isn't from a film. I hope this is not actually from a film. Maybe if it is, I watched the film when I was younger and that's why I thought it was the length of a film.
I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
Can I ask you something?
What?
You know I like you, don't you?
Yes?
And I hope you like me the way I like you.
Yes?
I was wondering if you would be my girl.
Oh, Michael.
Woo!
It's beautiful.
Now it's official.
Is that a tradition in the States in the 80s? Like a boyfriend-girlfriend ring? That's not a proposal. That's not on the ring finger. Or is it?
I have something I want to tell you.
Yes, Michael?
I'm not like other guys.
Of course not. That's why I love you.
No, I mean I'm different.
What are you talking about?
It's like a film. Film music.
Are you alright?
Get away!
I do not remember this at all. How have they done that? Oh, it's horrific. It's making my bum tinkle. Gee. I mean, I think I'd remember that if that's what I was scared by as a kid. That's horrific. I remember all the films I was scared by, especially the first ones. Maybe I was too young though. Ugh. Also, I never understand why in these films they never run. They just stand there screaming, "Run!" I guess shock or whatever, but I mean, come on. Very tense music. In terms of the music, very dissonant, very much like a film soundtrack, like it could be from a 60s horror film or something. Nice cross rhythms coming in the brass there as well. Exaggerated rhythmic drive. The intervals in the violins as well. That interval, that drop, that's what's called an augmented fifth. It's rather a dissonant interval compared to some of the more standard ones. So the music's really increasing the suspense, the tension here. Sorry, this is a very, very popular GIF or meme, whatever you want to call it. I often send it to my friends when there's some a bit of excitement going on in a group chat. Did not know it was from Thriller. Wow.
He's over here. God, look at that thing. Look out!
Can we get out of here?
No, I'm enjoying this.
Blood that hasn't been seen on this planet.
Well, I can't watch.
Excuse me.
Scrawled in blood. What's it say? See you next Wednesday.
So is he watching himself in this? Is he MJ watching MJ in a film, or is he just a character? So many questions. I do apologise if this is part of a longer film, by the way. If that's the case, it appears I'm culturally inept.
It's only a movie.
It's not funny.
You were scared, weren't you?
I wasn't that scared.
Yeah, you were scared.
She was scared.
It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. And you start to freeze.
A lot going on.
And so it looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed. You hear the door slam and realize there's nowhere left to run. You feel the cold hand and wonder if you ever see the sun. You close your eyes and hope that this is just imagination. Girl, but all the while you hear a creature creeping up behind. You're out of time.
I fully thought that would go into the chorus then. It's how the music builds up to it. I'm sure I'll touch on that in a moment. If you haven't seen my videos before, this is where I pause. I watch a section and then I pause and then I go over the analysis before continuing. So if you don't want to hear my analysis or my thoughts, go to the timestamp. So the music really started then, over 4 minutes in. With this bass motif. Let's quickly slap it on the guitar. It's actually lower than the guitar. I need to... Oh, I've lowered that so much, it's quite out of tune. That's why you don't play a bass riff on an acoustic guitar. Anyway, so that's the riff. It's remarkable how much of the song so far that it's been used in. I actually don't think we have not heard it at any point.
You try to wonder if you ever see time. You're out of time.
That's where we paused. The bass part is usually the harmonic foundation underneath everything else. If the harmony is a bit uncertain, you're not quite sure, you can usually rely on the bass part, very generally speaking, to give some indication as to what's happening in the harmony or what might come next in terms of a chord progression. For example, here's a very, very standard cadence, the bass part. As a crude example. So the fact that it's continuously playing whilst the harmony changes is quite cool. Well, not especially, as we only hear 2 chords pretty much for the whole verse.
It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark.
So these 2 chords are C sharp minor, which is the home key. The whole song is in C sharp minor, and then F sharp. But the chords are actually C minor 7 and F sharp 7. The 7 means you just add the 7th note in. So if we complete the octave, the 7th note is just one below. So we have these 2 chords, C sharp minor 7 and F sharp 7, just alternating between them, so there's not much going on harmonically. Also, the changes from one to the other don't happen quickly. If we listen out for the synth part, we'll see that it's gradually rising.
That almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. And you start to freeze.
This gives more of an impression of movement, of stuff happening, even though overall, at least harmonically, things are quite static. The bass part, as we talked about already, is not static. It provides quite a lot of rhythmic energy, and Michael Jackson's melody too. I mean, he's a beast, isn't he? An absolute beast. What also is not static are his legs, or him. Look at these moves. Oh, I'm gonna walk around the street like that now, I think. Just before we paused, I said I was expecting the chorus. It's more because we've had 2 verses already, and the verses are fairly long. At the end of the first verse, I also kind of expected the chorus to come in, but maybe not as much as now because that was just 1 verse. Typically in music, you know, you can expect the chorus after at least 2 verses. In terms of the music though, what we're hearing and why it builds up so nicely for the entry of a chorus, as I mentioned, we have just 2 chords throughout the verses, and they kind of seem a bit more static because the bass motif, jumpy as it is, always returns down to, which is C sharp, the root note. As I mentioned before, that's the overall key, C sharp minor. So the 2 chords that change are both above the same root that doesn't move. But at the end of the verse, we see 2 new chords.
And so it looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed.
What are these chords? Well, A major 7, but again, this C sharp, the root in the bass not moving, and G sharp minor 7. Still the C sharp in the bass, which doesn't fit in the G sharp minor chord. These 2 new chords, they're not only something new that we haven't seen before, but they're creating the feeling that there might be more new things to come. Kind of like a new section has been unlocked. But this final chord expects a resolution to the home chord, C sharp minor. That's the one that is used in the chorus on Thriller. But the version that's used in the verse is not the standard chord. It's the 7th chord because it has the 7th note in there, and it doesn't quite give us the satisfaction as moving to the standard version, this fuller chord would. Alright, let's continue.
You're out of time. They're out to get you. As demons closing in on every side. They will possess you unless you change that number on the dial. And now is the time for you and I to cuddle close together. Yeah. All through the night, I'll save
chorus.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell.
Oh, it's horrific. Music just...
The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.
A lot has happened there. We will have a quick recap. I vaguely remember this. I thought it was a car park. It's not. It just looks like the streets. The makeup though, wow, truly horrific. All right, we'll go through all the little bits that I think are worth mentioning. I mean, it's definitely suspenseful now, isn't it, that all the music's kind of stopped, or maybe there was some more music coming in, but completely different from where we carried on. Some really cool effects just like there, and then the little brass coming in for a little riff.
And now is the time for you and I to cuddle close together.
And then there's that line at the top. I mean, it just reminds me of a ghost. I'm imagining a ghost kind of going, woo, flying by. But it's a new musical idea, which thickens the texture. It adds to the textural growth, which is, more sounds, basically. Growing, moving higher. And there are so many layers in there. All these different guitar parts, bass part, all with cross rhythms and syncopations. It might not sound like it, but it's... vitality, energy. The part as well, moving higher, that's a staple of growth in music. Things tend to become louder and move up in pitch. MJ has got such a naturally high set voice that he can easily chest this part, sing in his chest voice.
From the terror on the screen, I'll make you see.
A bit of grit in his sound, a bit of a, rasp. For context, that note is... that's pretty much as high as your choral tenor is expected to sing. It's high, but for MJ, it's just so easy. Still no chorus, but now the bass repeating motif that we've been hearing, that's dropped out. Instead, we just have this repeated, and then nothing, and then it repeats again. You can guess that note it plays is the C sharp, the home note. Again, on repeat, not moving, as the harmony above kind of does move. Because the bass part is now static, before it kept returning to that note, but it was at least moving. Now it doesn't do anything. It just hits that note, stops, hits that note. It means that the parts that really move the harmony there elsewhere, and they come in these sustained synth chords that we hear above.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand.
Sounds like an organ, to be honest. The chords do share the same note or two, so those notes never have to move. So we have this idea of staticness, stillness, and movement in the notes that do move. It's obviously a video with extremely high production value.
Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize.
Especially for the time. I mean, this was over 40 years ago. So doing this, having this repeated music and then just some gradual movement, but also a lot of things just staying as they are. I guess it's a good way of lengthening the video because the video is so important. And the makeup. I mean, that's so cool. This is long before I was even born. But even for now, where it's a world of CGI, everything seems to be CGI, I think this is great. It's so authentic. We then get a fairly repetitive musical section, which allows for more video time. But it's the cross rhythms, the syncopations between these layers. There's always kind of something being plucked or played. They, I think, maintain a certain level of energy so we don't get bored. But we won't get bored because of the video. And obviously the low speech is fun.
The foulest stenches in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and
with the organ chords playing, how spooky. I'm kind of expecting Nosferatu or Dracula to appear and join these guys. Alright, let's carry on from where we got to before. Oh, it's horrible. Definitely not scary. That chord progression, I do not remember that. Alright, what is that? Let's go to the piano and figure that out. We have these, the usual chords that we've heard before. And then this. Yeah, I was saying, a lot less scary to me now as a man, but still horrific, the makeup and everything, which is the effect they're going for. I wonder if this had a rating to the music video, like you had to be above a certain age to watch it when it came out. I don't know if the ratings would be the same as they are today. Just a few points and then we'll continue to the end. So this bit. It's like an older film, like from the 60s, at least the music anyway, that's just what it reminds me of. I like that it's a song after all. Well, I guess the video is equally as important, if not more important. But yeah, it's just a complete musical change. They've just sacked off Thriller that we were hearing before, and now we've got this little disruption of the musical flow. But it, of course, works so well for the video side of things. And this whole section we saw, I mean, it's all about the choreography. I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm not going to comment. Yeah, I think it's great though. No idea why I was scared of this as a kid. No, I do know why. I really do know why. I just don't remember the dancing being this fun. Anyway, I won't replay it all because it goes on for a while. We get the same musical ideas as before, the repeated 2 notes in the bass, syncopations in the other rhythmic parts. There was a new little guitar line that came in that was quite catchy. And I sort of feel the repetitiveness kind of puts us in a trance-like state. There are no musical ideas to bombard us with. We're used to the music, so we're kind of just focusing on the dancing. Very clever. And then, finally, 9 minutes 40 in. Hey, there's the chorus. He has unzombified for the chorus as well. The music, it's been teasing me by leading up to the chorus. At least I think so anyway, because of the harmonic progression, and then it not coming. Oh, it's so satisfying. There it is, that iconic dance move. Yeah, very cool, isn't it? All right, let's carry on till the end.
So let me hold you tight and share up together.
He's back to being a zombie. The chromatic 1-2-1-2 in the violins. It makes me shudder.
Problem. Come on, I'll take you home.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've never seen that whole last section with her running into the house. I'm old enough to understand that it's fake, but it still kind of got my heartbeat racing. Fairly scary. Fair play. The music contributes so much to that last section as well. Just tension, how it fades out, and then the film music, I'm going to call it, comes in. A few seconds of just this real harsh dissonance, and then the ending. Well, there we are. I'm glad I watched that. I don't know if I would have watched that if it wasn't for the voice play cover that I was requested to do a video on. Yeah, I mean, that was cool. The song, completely different to how I remember it. Very interesting how it's kind of just verse, then this huge interlude section for the dancing, and then the chorus comes really quite far into the song. I wonder if there must be a studio version of the song that's 3-4 minutes. I'll need to do some digging on that. But yeah, and the video as well, really cool. I love the makeup, love the set. Kind of like a mini film indeed. Well, I was not planning on doing this. This was not part of my schedule for the month, but you know, things change. Glad I did. I think let's leave that one there. If you enjoyed, would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to support me, the best way is by joining the Patreon linked on the screen now. Or if you don't want to commit to anything, then Buy Me a Coffee is linked down below. And I will see you next time.